Hello there, people. So, as we're all aware, Nintendo recently just announced that they are creating a definitive edition of the greatest video game ever made, Xenoblade Chronicles, on the Nintendo Switch. I had a freak out about it, the internet had a freak out about it, it was a great time. So, as a result, considering Xenoblade Chronicles is my favorite game ever, I figured, let's sit down, let's have a nice little talk about what they could do about the game. What they could do to make this the definitive edition of Xenoblade. Now, realistically, if we're really thinking about it, they're only really gonna add maybe some new content that was cut from before and fix up the graphics and maybe add a little connection between Xenoblade 1 and 2. That's the reality of it. But we all have pipe dreams. We all have hopes, we all have wishes, we all want different things, that we all have things that we want to see maybe improved or done a little differently, Just because it's the greatest game ever doesn't mean they can't improve it in some way. Alright, I'm ranting a bit. So, I just want to know, based on what I'm doing here tonight, do you guys want to see me talk about this game more before it's released? Do you want to see me talk about more Xenoblade things? Let me know, like the video if you do. I normally don't ask, but I really want to see what people's engagement in this type of content is. If you want to see more videos like this, talking about different things about Xenoblade Definitive, talking about different things Xeno related, Xenoblade X, Xenoblade Torna, I could go back to talking about 2, the original game, the 3DS port, whatever. Maybe different topics regarding the Definitive Edition. Just let me know. Please, comment down. I'm actually really curious. Let me know what is the top thing you want to see improved in Xenoblade Definitive Edition. And don't give me that it's perfect, we don't gotta change anything spiel. Because it's a great game. It's the best game, but there's always things they can improve upon. There's always things they can do a little differently or a little better, even if it's down to the most minor quality of life change. With that said, let's jump into it with the minor things I have. First, and this is going to be an obvious one to anyone who's ever played Xenoblade Chronicles and beaten it to completion. My first change is the Lorithia boss fight. Man, that boss fight, that boss fight makes me mad even thinking about it. It was so brutal. Now, it's not that bad when you know what to do and you've gone through the game enough to know, you need ether users and you kind of need to focus on keeping your party away from those stupid ether pools that are, they could easily walk into and die to really easily. It's not, her boss fight really isn't that difficult when you know what you're doing and you come prepared, but doesn't mean they can't tone her down a little bit because, honestly, Xenoblade Chronicles isn't the most difficult game, but that boss fight just spikes up in difficulty so hard. There are a few things going down the list here that will maybe expand my thoughts on the difficulty of the game and things that they can improve with some combat sequences, but overall I think the combat itself, the system that they have, the foundation is perfectly fine. But there are just some minor tweaks, like this boss fight, for example. It's absurd to me that she could just, essentially push your guys out into that ether pool and kill you all within seconds, and there's really nothing you could do about it. I remember I was stuck on that boss fight on my first playthrough for 2 or 3 days, and I didn't think for a second I was going to quit the game because I was already near the end. But, the whole time I was like, oh my god, this is the biggest hurdle I've ever gone through in a video game. Now, now that I've, beaten the game 5 times, twice on the Wii and 3 times on the 3DS, I'm more experienced to understand, how to beat her. But still, it's something that I'm keeping in the back of my mind for new players because I don't want anyone that I know giving up on the game when they're that close to beating it. Okay, so the second thing, I want to see new difficulty options, or just difficulty options in general. Xenoblade Chronicles didn't have a difficulty slider or adjuster, or different levels of combat difficulty. And I think that it could really benefit from that for us veteran players who are looking for a little new thing to spice up our experience in the game. You know, we already know the ins and outs of it. You know, maybe make the more difficult version of the game, give the enemies a little more range to see you out on the field, but maybe like double damage you do with successful arts that match up. You know, like if I hit a Mechon with Monado Buster, it does double the damage it would normally do. But, you know, if we're hitting them with spells or moves that aren't positioned correctly, like, you know, if I'm doing backslash at the front, it does half the damage it would do. Something like that, like a Kingdom Hearts critical mode type of thing. That would be pretty cool. Now, okay. First, I want to clear up something. I've been seeing this around the internet a lot now that, you know, people are talking about Xenoblade Chronicles again. There is this common misconception out there that Xenoblade Chronicles is an ugly game. It looks really bad. Now, I will admit the character models, the faces, aren't too great. They look kind of gross. The game's characters, animations, and models don't really look that great. It's super pixelated, flat, really lifeless. But the environments and art direction of Xenoblade Chronicles are absolutely perfect. There are some environments that I like, Satoral Marsh, Valak Mountain at nighttime, just the entirety of Gower Plain, like the Maconis Field. There are so many places that just have the most creative and, I don't know, just beautiful set piece world design. Like, I could stare at Valak Mountain for ages, but, you know, I'm just throwing that one out there. Xenoblade Chronicles is not an ugly game. The art design, it's top notch in that. Alright, so it goes into my next point here. Please, fix the mouth flaps, fix the lip syncing, the voice syncing, whatever you want to call it. And this has been an issue that's not even plaguing Xenoblade Chronicles. It plagued X, it plagued 2, it was fixed a little bit in Torna, but they still really didn't fix it. Like, it still seemed like they were mouthing things, and the voices, like, there were too many syllables moving in their mouth for what they were actually saying. Just make it so that it's, you know, it looks, it doesn't have to look perfect, but just make it look believable, you know? Fix the mouth flaps. That's pretty much it. Next point. Please. I don't know how they're going to fix it, because it is a very essential story thing. But don't make Shulk and being Shulk so essential to combat in so many scenarios. I could list so many encounters that were just so frustrating because the game kind of wanted you to be Shulk and wanted you to have Shulk in your party, which really limited the amount of variety you could implement into your character loadout. You know, I can't really say, oh, I want Melia, Ricky, and Dunban all in one party, because there's a chance I could be fighting a Lorithia, and then it would do the soul read, and then I couldn't hit it, and I'd be shit out of luck because I would need Shulk's Aura Seal ability, for example. Or, you know, like the entire early game, you pretty much need to be Shulk because you need to put on the Monado art to allow anyone to hit Mechon. Because otherwise AI Shulk just wouldn't do it, and it'd be really annoying having to wait for him. And, you know, I liked experimenting with different characters. I liked playing different roles. And it felt a little, I don't know, that, you know, either they need to make Shulk more less essential, or make the Shulk AI better so that we don't have to worry about those types of things. Now, this next one, hashtag buff Melia 2020. Now, Melia isn't bad. Gonna throw that out there. Melia isn't terrible, okay? But she's definitely more of a situational character. I think there are very few scenarios where I'd be like, I need Melia here, and that's whenever, you know, a boss is weak to ether damage or something. She's your main ether damage dealer. In those instances, I'd be like, yeah, let's throw out Melia into the party. But I rarely ever felt like she was necessary. And I would like to see maybe her damage output increased a little, or her role as just the ether damage dealer refined more, because she seemed a little frail in some aspects. Just hashtag buff Melia 2020, man. Just do it. Just do it. Girl's been through enough. Next, give expanded combat options for AI. I would like to see maybe something of, like how Kingdom Hearts does it, where you're able to tell each party member how they should act individually instead of just like, I think Xenoblade has like 2 commands you can do in the menu. I would like to see maybe like, you could tell Charla, focus on healing. You can tell Ryan, focus on using defensive arts, or focus on drawing aggro, or this or that. It would be really helpful, only because, you know, otherwise the AI is kind of just doing a myriad of different things based on what you equip them with, which can be good or bad depending on the scenario. So that's just another small improvement I'd like to see. Next, and this is a gripe among gripes, but please make getting advanced art books easier. Make it easier. Allow it to happen through quests or something. I did not like that in order to get any of the advanced art books, they would just be random drops from enemies. I'm sorry, but the fact that I had to put out a spreadsheet in my playthrough to figure out how to get any of the advanced art books to level up a number of my characters' arts is just like, come on. Like, I think it would be cool if, like, I don't know, I beat the shit out of Territorial Robart in Gower Plain as a mission, and then the mission reward is you get the advanced art book. And just make that the case for all of the art books. You know, I would be down for that. Now I'm just going to jump into the pipe dreams a bit. What they could do to add to the game. These are things I don't think are going to happen at all, but, you know, a boy can dream. The next thing that I'd like to see are layered armor sets. Now, if you don't know what that is, this is a reference to something in the game Monster Hunter, if you've ever played Monster Hunter before, where layered armor sets are cosmetic armor sets that go over the armor that you can wear. It can change your appearance without altering your stats. I would like to see, like, because there are a lot of armor sets in Xenoblade that look cool, but don't really have that best of utility in combat. Being able to, you know, turn your armor into something that looks a little better or looks different, that would be a cool option. It's a very tiny thing, probably something no one's suggesting at all, which is why I don't think we're going to see it, but it'd be cool to see it anyway. Next, 4-person parties. 4-person parties would be amazing. It's not going to happen. It would be very amazing, though, to see, you know, an extra addition to your team. It would add a new dynamic to the combat. You'd have to adjust the combat system a lot to make it, to keep it from being trivial, essentially, because having 4 people would increase your DPS insurmountably. It would make dying a lot harder. But, you know, it'd be great to see it nonetheless. And finally, this is the biggest pipe dream ever. I don't know if they're going to do it, but I'd love to see it. An epilogue. I would like to see post-credit scene where you see, well, where does Shulk and Fiora and everyone's journey take them beyond beating Zanza? You know, what happens next? I would love to see how, you know, this world evolved past that. I don't know, it'd be great to kind of bridge a gap and give us a little more context to these characters and some finality and closure, because they did give us a good amount of closure at the end of the original game. But just giving us like that, what actually happened to them, beyond the whole we'll find our own future thing, would be pretty great. Would be pretty great. Okay, so that's all I have to say for today. Thanks for sticking around if you did. The 5 people who probably did, because I watched those statistics. I noticed people don't actually stick to the end of the video. But thanks for sticking around. Again, let me know, what do you want to see that they could improve for Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition? I want to know. Type it down in the comments. Type down what you want to see. If I'm stupid, if I got something wrong, whatever. Probably did. It's been a minute. I'll see you in the next one. You guys have a good day.